What's going on with y'all, man? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Muscle Bound with Herb. And today I am going to go see the new Spider-Man No Way Home movie, and I will be making a reaction to it. But I am currently about to go into the movie theater right now, and we're gonna see if it's actually living up. Gonna see if you know who Mr. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield is in the movie. And I will be posting spoilers, so look out for that too. And then I'm gonna just let y'all know how it is. All right, y'all. So we just got out the movies. Man, I got a lot to say. Stay tuned. What's good with y'all, man? So let's get right into it. So Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home. I really did enjoy the movie. And spoiler alert, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are all in the movie. Yes. And the way that they brought them in, I really did enjoy. I love the way that they introduced both of them. That was really, really cool. And there are some sad parts, I will say that. Another spoiler alert, Aunt May dies. Like, and at first they like play you, like they throw you for a little loop. Because at first you're like, oh, she's okay. But then she's not okay. And then I like how they started out the movie as well. They started it out straight from the last Spider-Man movie. They basically just went literally straight from that scene right there. And then when Mysterio exposed Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And so then they kind of start out running away from people. The FBI gets involved. A big shebang happens. And through all of that, they have to hire a lawyer. And you guys will never guess who the lawyer is. Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil. Yes, sir. Daredevil is in the movie. And that was magnificent. And then I think they're going to do something with Daredevil. I'm not even going to lie. I feel like they're going to do something with him because they had this scene where like a brick flew through Peter's window. And he catches it like that. And then everybody's like, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? How'd you do that? And so I feel like that and his remark was, I'm a lawyer. But I feel like they're really going to do something with him as far as that. And I really did enjoy everything about the movie. The acting was amazing. The acting was absolutely amazing. And for you guys for everybody, my favorite Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire. I grew up watching Tobey Maguire. I remember my dad brought me the DVDs, all three of his movies, back in like 2007 after all of them were filmed. And I remember I fell in love with him as Spider-Man. So when I found out that they were recasting with Andrew Garfield, I was not happy. I was not happy. So when I talk about some of these, it might be a little biased, but I'm doing my best to keep the bias out of it. But as far as just strictly Spider-Man, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there now. My favorite Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire, but the best Spider-Man, the actual Spider-Man that like you can tell through the movies is like actually like, yeah, he is like the one in the comics. Not Peter Parker, but just strictly Spider-Man is Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield is honestly my least favorite, but his movements and everything. But that's not what we're talking about. That's another video for another day. But also, Peter gets this rage in him. You could tell it after Aunt May dies because the Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe, he's in it, and he's kind of having an internal battle in his mind. And so he's like switching back and forth from Green Goblin back to Willem, Green Goblin back to like his normal self, Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, Norman Osborn. Tongue twister a little bit. And so eventually Green Goblin wins, and he basically turns all of the villains, because all the villains are kind of trying to get back to their own universe. So they're helping him. They're helping Peter Parker. And so, well, Tom Holland, Peter Parker, they're helping him. And so they end up going all the way back. They end up turning on him. All of them end up turning on him, except for Doc Ock. Doc Ock is the only one that doesn't. He pretends like he's on their side, but he ends up coming back around at the end. And honestly, it's Electro and Willem and Green Goblin that kind of start this. But Green Goblin manipulated Aunt May in the beginning of it making her believe, oh yeah, I really need help, and I see you, you need help. And the whole concept of this story I can really see is every hero is going to have to make a decision, but just because you make a decision as a hero doesn't mean that it's not going to backfire on you. And I feel like that was like the main thing of this movie, was letting you know that, yeah, not saying that heroes make mistakes, but it's kind of saying that if you're a hero, you're gonna have to deal with the consequences of being a hero. You're not just a hero for good people. You're a hero for everyone, even the bad people. And so Tom Holland's Peter Parker really does try to save the villains, but they end up turning on him anyway. And then interesting thing happened, and Ned somehow is able to do the thing that Doctor Strange can do, by opening up portals. And so, and that was a really in fulfillment enjoyment too, because I saw a lot of TikTok or whatever, and I seen a lot of people saying that, oh no, he's gonna become the Hobgoblin, he's gonna become the Hobgoblin. I thought that too. I really did. I thought that they were going to go more towards the comic approach with that. But no, it went way left. I was not expecting that at all. I really was not expecting Aunt May to die either. It was some people in the crowd that were crying. Because you could really tell that that really hurt Peter, Tom Holland. That really hurt him. But it's a lot of jokes and gags, and like I said in the beginning, I absolutely love how they always are referring back to the older movies. Like, I was sitting there and I felt like a little kid again. I was really sitting there just like, oh my god, that's from the first Spider-Man, 2002 Spider-Man. I was like, oh my god, that's all the way back to the Amazing Spider-Man. And it was actually this one gag where they're talking about the villains. All three of them are sitting down talking about the villains that they fought. And so Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland's Peter Parker has fought aliens, but Andrew Garfield has never fought anything close to what they fought. And so Andrew Garfield was like, I'm not special. And then they were like, no, you are special. You're actually amazing. You're actually, like, you can be the Amazing Spider-Man. I was like, that is insane. Like, and I just love how they kept going back to these old movies. And I know all of you seen in the trailer where MJ fell. Man, everybody was on the edge of their seats when MJ fell, because they were like, who's going to save her? Who's going to save her? Is she even going to be saved? Because Tom Holland's Peter Parker was all the way over there. Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker was trying to get something done with one of the villains. And so everybody's like, what's going to happen? And then the camera flashes straight to Andrew Garfield. And for you guys that have not seen The Amazing Spider-Man 2, please go check that out. And in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, that Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker does lose his girlfriend. And so she ends up dying. Gwen Stacy. Dang, I couldn't think of the name. But she does end up dying in the same manner that MJ almost died in this movie. She was falling, and in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, Andrew couldn't get to her because he threw down a web and she ended up snapping her neck. But with this one, Andrew jumped off and he was able to catch her, and everybody was like, yes. And then when Andrew had her, he looked MJ in her eyes and just started crying. And that really resonated with me, because although I said that I wasn't really into the whole Amazing Andrew Garfield, I wasn't a big fan of Andrew Garfield because I was so in love with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. It was heartwarming to see that, because it was like, yeah, he did it. And then another part of the movie was when, after Aunt May died and MJ and Ned, they opened the portal for the other two Spider-Man to come. Tom Holland's Peter Parker went and sat on the top of the school and just cried. And that was something that was like really, I felt it. And MJ and Ned found him, and they just cried with him, and that was like such a heartbreaking scene. Like, I think it was straight tears for at least 20 to 30 seconds. Like, that was really something different. I really felt it. And then the other two Spider-Man come, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Now they're meeting each other. I'm like, yes. I have been waiting since 2007, since I was a little boy, to see Tobey Maguire put back on the mask. And so, I'm sorry, that was a little side note, but I digress. So they come back, right? And they basically explain everything they've been through. And then they each like share like a heartfelt cry. Like it is just like you can really feel it because it's like they've all been through such similar things. And then I felt it too. And I really like how they explore the genius of Peter Parker because people don't understand that. And one of my favorite things about Spider-Man, period, is that he holds his punches. Like a lot of people don't understand how strong Spider-Man is. He has the proportional strength of a spider. And basically, spiders are very strong for their size. If Spider-Man really wanted to, regardless of who it is, Spider-Man really wanted to, if he could probably kill his villains with one punch. He has to hold back his punches because he's literally that strong. And so Andrew Garfield actually says that. He says that he stopped holding back his punches on these villains after Gwen Stacy died in his universe because it was like he was just so broken. And I felt that. I really did. And I just love all the callbacks to the movies and the comics. It's even a little Jamie Foxx, who did a great job playing Electro. It was even a little callback to Miles Morales a little bit because he was like, oh, I didn't know that you were white. He was basically like, I thought you would have been a black kid because you stay in Queens. And then he was like, and then Andrew Garfield was kind of like, I'm sorry, but I'm not. He's like, I'm not black. And then Electro was like, well, there has to be a black Spider-Man out there somewhere. And then he was like, yeah, there probably is. So that was a little callback to Miles Morales. And I really like everything that they did. They really tied everything together perfectly. I really don't see them doing a better job with this movie. I was going in with very high expectations and my expectations were met. And as far as the ending of the movie, and one of my questions is, what are they doing with Ned? If anybody can answer that, please tell me what they're doing with Ned. Because Ned has powers now. A little confused. Wasn't expecting that. But as far as the end of it, so I'm just gonna give you a rundown of the ending. I'm sure that most of you guys are going to see it, but I'm gonna give you a rundown anyway. So once they cure everyone, besides Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, and basically Tom Holland and him have a somewhat of a gruesome fight because Tom Holland, because Green Goblin is the one that killed Aunt May, and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Tom Holland, they had a heart-to-heart. They were kind of like, don't stoop down to that level. We don't want to see you murder. We don't want to see you be like us. Be better. And so basically, in this fight between Green Goblin and Tom Holland, Peter Parker, Tom Holland was about to kill him. Like, he was like, Tom Holland was not holding back his punches at all. And you could tell. You could really see the anger. He was ready to kill him. And so then Tobey Maguire swoops in and stops him and says, no, just relax. And so then out of nowhere, they kind of tug at the heartstrings a little bit. Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin stabs Tobey Maguire in the back. And so everybody's like, no, he can't die. No, he can't die. No, 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 no. But he ends up being all right. So, and they do end up injecting him and curing Willem Dafoe at the end. So that's a plus. But, and I don't know if anybody else can tell me, maybe somebody else can let me know, but at the end of the movie, basically Doctor Strange, people started coming in from different universes, and I'm really wondering, who are those people? They look pretty cool. All we saw is the outline of them. They looked really cool. I'm really wondering who those people were. Maybe somebody could put me onto a comic or something. But I really, but that was really cool to see though. That really was, to see like everybody coming in, but you couldn't tell who they were. So I was like, okay, cool. But so ultimately, Tom Holland's Peter Parker comes up with this idea that, okay, well, how about we just erase everybody's memory? That ends up happening, and they end up curing all the villains, and all the villains get sent home, and then Tom, Andrew, and Tobey all share a heartfelt hug and say their goodbyes. I absolutely love that scene. I loved every scene. But that one really, it's like, and Andrew Garfield said it feels good to not be alone. It feels good to have somebody, to have brothers. And I really felt that because Andrew Garfield doesn't really have anyone because in his universe, almost everybody's dead. So, but they end up switching everybody's memory, and so Peter at the end of the movie, uh, he basically tries to go find MJ and Ned because everybody's memory is erased. Nobody remembers Peter Parker at all, and so he has this plan. He has this note, and he has this letter, and he's kind of like, okay, this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna introduce myself, and I'm gonna be like, we used to date, and we're going to MIT together. But at the end of it, he just decides not to do it because he's kind of like, I feel like he was kind of saying, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But then again, it's kind of like, I'm just gonna go with the flow. I feel like it was more of a go with the flow type of moment. And so that's what he chose to do. And he didn't do too much and he didn't do too less. He just spoke, got a cup of coffee, and he left. And so since Aunt May is dead and nobody knows who Peter Parker is, nobody at all. So, and I love what they did here too. So he basically has to start over. And so since he has to start over, he goes and finds an apartment in a little rundown poop type of apartment. Same one as Tobey Maguire back in 2004, I believe, when he moved out. Yeah, back in 2004 when he fought against Dr. Octavius in Spider-Man 2. He went and got a little poopy apartment or whatever. And the thing is that he has his old costumes. Tom Holland has his old costumes, but he makes his own. And he makes a new one that resembles both Andrew Garfield's and Tobey Maguire's. It's kind of like a mixture in between. And I love that. I really do. Because it really, this movie really nods and gives the praise back to the older movies and the older guys who did it. Like they really do give their praise. They really do say, yeah, we know that we know that you're the forefather of this stuff. We know that you did this. We just gonna give you some callback. Like, and I love that they shouted out so many references. There's so many references. You really have to watch the movie for yourself to really get all of them. It's only so much I can say. But at the end, he ends up making his own suit, and he ends up just getting his GED. They did a little pan on a book that he was gonna start reading, and it was for his GED. So therefore, he kind of, I guess, dropped out of high school, and now he's gonna start doing what Tobey Maguire ended up doing, and he's basically gonna live alone now, and he's just gonna be Spider-Man, and nobody's gonna know it, and he's basically just gonna start over and just be this whole new Spider-Man. And I love that nod to Tobey Maguire, I really do, because that really shows you how much the influence is on this movie. And how much the other Peter Parkers had on this Peter Parker, the influence. I love it, and I also like what they did with J. Jonah Jameson. And by the way, for you guys that don't know, it's the same actor that played the J. Jonah Jameson back in the early 2000s Spider-Man films with Tobey Maguire also. But he was a little annoying, I will say that. I did not enjoy seeing him at all because it was kind of like, what are you there for at times? But then again, I'm not the director, but it was kind of like, I'd rather not. Like, he's kind of like, it was kind of making me mad because he doesn't understand what Spider-Man is going through. But that's what the that's what the movie's for. The movie is supposed to make you feel that way. It's supposed to make you feel a certain type of way. It's supposed to get those adrenaline and that stuff going. But that movie is gonna make you cry. It's gonna make you laugh. It's gonna have you on the edge of your seat. This might be the movie of the year. Probably the best movie of the year. I really enjoyed this movie. Now, as far as Spider-Man movies, my favorite now, the all-time #1 superhero movie, I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now, is Spider-Man 2, all time. But as far as this one, I'm going to rank this one as far as Spider-Man movies, period. It's a close second, and I might just have to put it at that #1 slot because it really brought everybody in and just gave the head nod to everyone. It gave that head nod, and I this is a movie, and I know that everybody has Fire Stick or whatever. I will be buying the DVD. I will. Even though we have Fire Stick or whatever, I'm going to buy the DVD. And because I really liked it, really loved it. But yeah. So please go see the movie. Please go see the movie. And then, like I said, a lot of spoilers in this video, but please go see the movie. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will be doing a video on the other Spider-Man movies and my reactions and how I felt about the other Spider-Man movies as well, because I couldn't get into depth with it in this one. And I will be doing other anime videos as well. But yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you again for watching Muscle Bound with Herb, and we're out.